Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to your TWitWoW monthly Q&A for the month of November 2021. It is the 65th edition of the TWitWoW monthly Q&A. And, we're technically doing this in December. It is December 2nd right now. But if we would have done it on the last Thursday of November, as we usually do, it would have fallen on Thanksgiving Day, and we wanted everyone to be able to enjoy their turkey and stuffing and cranberry sauce and yams with marshmallows on top and all that delicious Thanksgiving food that everyone loves to enjoy so much. And we wanted you to be able to enjoy your food comas in peace, just like I did. I literally went to Thanksgiving, came home, slept for 5 hours. I slept from like 4:30 to 9:30 on Thanksgiving Day. I'm not even joking either. But today we have 43 questions to answer. So it is really nice to see everyone here. We hope that you're all able to take a deep seat and enjoy. John, how you feeling, man?
I'm feeling fucking great. I'll tell you, my Thanksgiving feast was fantastic. I had more candied yams than I can probably ever remember having. My heart was beating like crazy when I tried to sleep that night. It's just my body telling me, where the fuck did all this sugar come from? What are you doing? And I'm like, it's the holiday. And they're just like, no. But it was delicious. I regret literally nothing. And any years that I lost in my life indulging myself to such excess, well paid.
Worth it?
Well paid. Yeah, absolutely. For Christie's fucking candied yams, abso-fucking-lutely. Yeah, absolutely. So,
Right.
you said before we went live that we have 43 questions this month. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Sounds fucking great to me, Face. Let's do this.
Well, we really only have 42 because the first one, as you even kind of mentioned, is kind of a joke question. James wanted to ask you, John, how much money did I spend on my new camera, and what was your reaction when you found out?
He spent $6,000 on that shit, and I damn near had another heart attack, as if the M's didn't already try and do me in. I will say though, he is opening up a photography business, I believe, with an associate of his. So I know he's getting ready and trying to get the proper equipment. If they ever get a website and stuff, I'd love to plug the shit out of it on Twitter and elsewhere. But just keep your eyes out for James. He's at journeyman_J on Twitter. Keep up with everything he's doing. I'm so proud of how he's investing in himself. I wish we all had the disposable income to do that, but I know he's worked hard for his money and everything he's got. So, that's certainly not a knock on him. On the contrary. And yeah, my eyes bugged out of my skull because it's like, in my mind, it's like when the photos develop, they should sing to you. But I wish him all the best, and I hope it's really successful. So, yeah, there you go, James. There's your question. Now let's get on to the actual questions.
All right, first up, Brandon Best. First question, and I saw he's already in chat, so it's good to see you, Brandon. First question, who, in your opinion, is the most wholesome wrestler in the world right now?
Well, wrestler, and Kyrie currently is in wrestling. Otherwise, it would be her, hands
Right.
down. Could it be either Mina or Tam? I mean, Tam's got a little bit of an evilness in her with the Taichi thing. I would have picked her if I didn't know about that. But now, knowing that,
I
like,
think
eh.
out
You know
of
what?
those two, I think Mina is definitely more wholesome than Tam, but it's also like, I don't know, it's hard to say.
You know what? Natsupoi. I'm going to say Natsupoi.
That's a
Because I
really
know
good
she
answer.
was kind of mean with Tam in that whole feud, but honestly, Tam probably deserved it, given what we know about her. Like, I'm looking at Tam differently. And when she cried, I just wanted to make everything better and just be like, how dare you, Himeka? Like, that's your sister. Make up with her now. But now! And, just really get authoritative there. So I'm going to say Natsupoi.
I like it. For me, it's a three-way tie. And I don't want to single any of them out. Really, I shouldn't even say it's a three-way tie because really, if we're speaking strictly on wholesomeness, there's one wrestler that I know of who is intentionally wholesome and literally nothing else, and that's Raku in TJPW. Her whole gimmick is that she's a sleepy girl and she pretends to take naps on people to pin them, and like there's like a whole thing there. It's very wholesome. It's very sweet. It's very wholesome. But she was one of the three Natspoi was another one, but the one that I wanted to really bring up that I just want to protect with my life, that is like the closest thing to Kyrie since Kyrie retired, is Sare.
Yeah, that's a great pick.
So those are the big three for me: Raku, Natspoi, and Sare. All right, let's get to our next question. Second question, speaking of Kyrie, do you think Kyrie will come back to wrestling soon? I'm going to just say no.
Soon, no. Generally, yeah. I do think she'll come back to wrestling, but not anytime soon. But I do think ultimately, before she outgrows it, just in terms of, bodily ability and everything, I think she'll have at least one more match. I think Kyrie knows how much the fans want it, and I want to believe that she wants it too. I don't know, but I know this gym that she just opened up, congratulations to her, is going to be a good investment. So I ultimately agree with Ashton, but I did just want to say, I do think she'll wrestle again, just not in the near future.
Yeah. I don't think she will at all. I think she's just retired.
Interesting. Okay.
It's mostly my pessimism saying that, just not wanting to be disappointed by getting my hopes up and that not happening.
Yeah, I hear that. Yeah.
So, all right, third and final question from Brandon. Are you guys excited for the Batman? I'm excited.
We're talking about the Pattinson Batman, right?
Yeah,
I'm fucking stoked on this shit. Mm-hmm. Oh my god. Like, look, I ain't gonna lie, I'm never gonna present myself in a more flattering image than what I perceive myself to be. I was one of the people that ragged on him and Kristen Stewart in the Twilight years, for sure. But obviously, you shouldn't be judged on your, worst film or first film or whatever the case may be, or songs. I know they gave Rebecca Black a lot of hell in the music department, and apparently she's gotten better too, seemingly. But yeah, he looks fucking fantastic for this. He looks ready for this. I can't tell you when the first trailer came out how many times I watched the isolated clip of "Who the hell are you supposed to be?" beats the shit out of Joker minion. I'm vengeance. Like, amazing. I think it's going to be a really stellar film. I think it's finally going to be a film, honestly, in my opinion, that may give the Nolan films a run for their money, or at least one of them. I mean, take your pick. But I definitely think it's going to be a top-tier Batman film. So, yeah, I'm excited.
Yep, very excited as well. Looking forward to it quite a bit. Let's get into this next set, which is Hypothesis, who is also here, I believe. Yes, he is still here. First question from Hypothesis. If you could pick a Disney/Pixar, Marvel, and Star Wars character to join Smash, who would they be?
Pixar, I would choose Buzz Lightyear. I think that's pretty obvious, like Space Cadet and stuff like that. You got the laser, you've got the wings. So I think you could actually do cool Smash Sigs just with that kind of getup. They said Marvel.
Yeah, it was Disney. Disney Pixar was one, Marvel was one, and Star Wars was one.
Oh god, Star Wars is going to be hard for me because I just don't care for that property. So I'm going to say Boba Fett, the bounty hunter or whatever. Yeah, I'll say him.
That's a character in that series. So that's as valid of an answer as there can be.
Marvel, I'll just go Doctor Strange. I really enjoy Doctor Strange, so I'll go Doctor Strange.
All right. For Disney Pixar, I am gonna say, I kind of want to say, just like The Incredibles as one character, where like, you know how you have the ice climbers and it's like two characters in one. And you have like Duck Hunt and it's two characters in one. I would want the Incredibles, but it would be all four family members and they all move as one unit, and you can't like desynchronize them like you can with the Ice Climbers because that's fucking ridiculous. But like depending on what type of move you want to do, changes who does the attack. Like, so like for example, your recovery would be the dad grabbing the mom, her turning into a long rope, getting thrown up like a tether, and then maybe like an alternative would be like her turning into like a big parachute, right, to help you float down. Like your side smash would be the dad just punching because he's, big, strong power dad. Maybe you would have like a shield move that you could use with Violet, like that kind of stuff. So just like the main four, I wouldn't want the little kid, the little baby to get involved. Like your dash attack would obviously just be the boy. I forget. Is it Flash? Is the kid's name literally Flash?
I think it might be. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So yeah, like that would kind of be the idea that I would want to go with for Disney Pixar. For Marvel, man, that's a tough one. Who has a bunch of different like gadgets and stuff, like different options that they could use? Um, hmm. Um, that's a tough one. I mean, Strange is a really, really good choice, man. That's a really good call. Oh, it's Dash, not Flash. The kid's name is Dash. That's my
Oh,
bad.
Dash. Okay. Yeah. All right. My bad.
Let's see. Who would be my Marvel rep? I mean, my gut instinct just says the Hulk, but I feel like that's almost too basic because you could literally just make fucking Donkey Kong and reskin him to look like the Hulk, and you would have an effective Hulk moveset. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. That's a great point, actually.
um, but I want to come up with something a little more unique. Maybe Hawkeye, actually, because we only have one character in Smash that I can, or two. I forgot about Pit. Two characters that use a bow and arrow, but like none of the characters' move sets revolve around a bow and arrow. Like Pit uses a bow and arrow for like one move, and then the bow and arrow acts like other weapons for other moves. Link has one bow and arrow move and is literally just he shoots an arrow and that's it. Hawkeye could have an entire move set based around the bow and arrow, and that could be really interesting. And it would be really relevant right now because Hawkeye is literally what series is streaming live on Disney Plus right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. I love that
So,
pick.
all right, let's. And for Star Wars, you know what? Just for the memes, Jar Jar Binks, fuck you.
What a heel turn at the very end there. I love the fuck you at the end was so unnecessary, but that's what made it so perfect. Oh man.
Second question from I'm leaving it too. That's my answer. Second question from Hypothesis. How many souls do you think had to be sacrificed for Disney to allow Sora in Smash?
Oh God. You know, it's funny you asked that hypothesis. I'm probably gonna treat your question more seriously than you intended. Because I think I even told you guys potentially last month for Q&A that I saw a video of like somebody talking about what Sora means in Smash and kind of doing a compilation of some of the best reactions and stuff. And again, it was a long process. It was a long process. Like, I feel like people at Disney were really uncomfortable about the prospect of letting Sora be a part of Smash and this and that. So you talk about souls, and I know you're being kind of cheeky there, but you're not even really wrong. I wouldn't even be surprised if a ritualistic sacrifice was involved to get that to happen because it was a lot of red tape. Like a lot of bureaucratic maneuvering. This company didn't want this, but this company's trying to angle this. So to put a number to that feeling, I'll say 1,000. 1,000 fucking souls to get this to happen because it's been going on years too. It's not just like this particular iteration of Smash was like, okay, guys, let's just try and get Sora. And no, I think they've been trying every iteration since Kingdom Hearts has been a thing. And yeah, it's been a slog. So I'll say 1,000. 1,000 fucking souls for sure.
Damn. Okay. I was just gonna say like a few dozen because I'm just thinking of souls as like other potential characters that had to get shafted in order for Sora to be able to get in.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
all of the fan bases of Nintendo games past talking about how they wanted their character in and they just don't get in because Sora takes it, and it's like, oh, I mean that's
Yeah,
a lot of
exactly. Yeah.
souls, not necessarily sacrificed, but at least crushed.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely, for sure.
Third question from HPT: which era had the best WrestleManias? The best WrestleMania track record, actually, is what he said. The Golden Era, which was the first 9 WrestleManias. The New Generation, which was WrestleManias 10 through 13. These are all his numbers. I'm not doing these. These are all him. The Attitude Era, which was 14 through 17. Ruthless Aggression, which was 18 through 24. PG, 25 through 29. Reality, 30 and 31. Or New, which is 32 and up.
I mean, I came up in the Ruthless Aggression era, so it's just my instinct to say that. However, like, without the WrestleManias of the Golden Era, I don't even know if WWE would still be a thing, especially WrestleMania
Dude.
3. Because you got the marks with Steamboat and Savage, but then you got the actual business side with Hogan and Andre. So, torn between Golden Era and Ruthless Aggression era, personally. I think I'll go Ruthless Aggression era for my taste, but I also want to recognize the importance of history and say Golden Era because that's literally foundational to
Dude,
everything else.
you know what though? He said the best track record, and like just because the Golden Era had one or two of the most important WrestleManias of all time, there was some actual full blown garbage in those first 9 WrestleManias. Like
Oh my god, yeah.
Six of those 9 were shit, absolute trash tier, and 2 were legendary, and 1 was like okay. Like,
Yeah.
it was
No,
rough.
I hear you on that, bro. I hear you on that.
Whereas,
100%.
like in my mind, like the Ruthless Aggression era, which he's defining as WrestleMania's 18 through 24. So you're starting at 18, which had fucking Rock Hogan on it, which, for fuck's sakes, like, you want to talk about iconic WrestleMania moments? If anything can compete with Hogan slamming Andre, it is Hogan hulking up against The Rock, right? And
Yeah.
then 19, my opinion, the greatest WrestleMania of all time. 20, I remember 20 being amazing too. That was when Benoit won the title against Michaels and Triple H. 21 was basically the crowning of a new era with Cena and Batista both winning their respective world titles. Like, I think I gotta go with Ruthless. And then 24, Flair retired, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, like, it has to be Ruthless Aggression. Like, I'm not saying all those WrestleManias were perfect. They definitely weren't. There were a lot of issues with a lot of those. But if we're going pure track record and consistency, easily Ruthless Aggression by far.
Yeah, I would definitely agree, man. That's why Ruthless Aggression was my primary pick. So I think you and I are ultimately in agreement about this.
Yeah. All right. So up next, we've got 5 questions from our boy Super Blue. He might be our boy, but boy, does he have questionable taste. Anyway, first question. Should Tony Khan buy Ring of Honor and turn it into his own developmental show, aka their own NXT 2.0? And then he added AEW Dark, and I'm assuming this also includes Dark Elevation. Don't count.
I don't know, man. Because, like, here's the thing. It's hard for me to answer this because I'm really trying to come at each question seriously and sincerely. Because I even told Ashton before we went live, like, oh, I'm glad we got a high number of questions because I want you guys to feel engaged with us. You guys know I'm not an AEW fan. That's not a diss. It's just an observation. And so it's hard for me to talk about their trajectory, this and that, when I'm not plugged in at all. In fact, if anything, lately I've been thinking maybe I'm too plugged into wrestling Twitter. I just see, like, how much is going on, and I'm like, nah. So everything I hear, though, AEW seems to be doing well. So I guess that kind of expansion makes logical sense. But at the same time, I feel like so much of their content is internet-based. I think, okay, I'll put it to you like this to be as succinct as possible. I'd be okay with it if the fandom wasn't necessarily required to keep up with it for larger, like, overarching stories kind of thing.
Right.
It needs to be its own separate entity because I feel like already, and again, this is just an observation from a standoff guy, maybe I'm way off base, but it just seems like to be a tried and true AEW fan and to keep up with all their stories and to really maximize the payoffs, you have to keep up with so much of the content, a lot of which is even online because of being the elite and stuff. And, like, that's asking a lot of your time for one wrestling company that's asking you to follow stories. So I would maybe be okay with it if it was his own separate thing and wasn't yet another thing that you had to follow to maximize your payoff and your stories. But if it was, I'd be adamantly against it. So really, I'm agnostic on the question, but I guess I'd side with, yeah, it's never too early to invest in the future, but it's a very tentative yes. I'm curious, though, Ashton, what you have to say, because I know you do watch Dynamite like every Wednesday with your mom and stuff, and that's why we get on later. So what do you think about this?
Well, here's my thing. Why buy ROH when you could just wait for them to go under like they're already in the process of doing and buy the talent, like pick and choose the talents that you want?
Yeah, that's a great point. That's a great point.
You don't need a whole ass developmental territory when the indies exist and the indies have already basically been your developmental region or whatever for your entire existence.
Yeah, like, I don't think people are really understanding how important, and by people, I mean the big game players of WWE, and now I think we can really say AEW, because I don't see them slowing down. I don't know when they'll quote-unquote peak. I'm still waiting for them to have that kind of TNA moment where it's like they reach their zenith, and then it's downhill. But, you know, because I don't think AEW has this international distribution yet, from my understanding, but I do think they'll achieve it, I'd even say in the next 2 years. I wouldn't be surprised with the trajectory they're moving. But, like, you know, so I say all this to say that I do consider them a big game player now. But now having another big game player, which everybody's excited about, and I get that, it's like the indies are being utterly devastated. I think people have actually forgotten how much WWE devastated the UK scene. Now, I will be the first to say that I'm not a fan of the UK scene. It's not my scene, so to speak, but they really dried it the fuck up. AEW, I think, is going to do, you know, the same thing on their side to a lot of American indies like WWE has also done. And, you know, that's why it's kind of sad when we're even talking about developmental systems, because I just like the idea of wrestlers traveling to all different promotions. You know, I guess that is the one big thing that I liked, at least, you know, in abstract about the territories, right? Is that you could just go anywhere and just ply your craft. I feel like you can't do that today. Now, today, I feel like the wrestling business is like, okay, I'll grind here, but my hope is to really get to one of these big companies or whatever because it's the only way I'll really be able to make a living. Rather than like, oh, I can really be fucking great at my craft and just work everywhere. I don't think that's as viable today, which is crazy because of how globalized everything feels. But I feel like, yeah,
Telling you,
wrestling is
man,
very constricted.
we need a new promotion to spring up somewhere. We're losing ROH, and that's like a definite blow, but it's also like, you know, like ROH was shoddy as hell anyway. We need a new, upstanding company to spring up to bring in and really to focus on a women's division and non-white wrestlers. Like you bring in fucking Keith Lee and the fucking Hit Row types. You bring in a bunch of the talented women that have been getting released by WWE and that are still just available. Um, I think that there's such a huge market available right now that is just not being taken advantage of. And like, this is one of those instances where I really feel like Lucha Underground was ahead of its time because like they made so many stars, but imagine if they came around now, post WWE release frenzy, and they were able to scoop up a handful of those guys and women, plus a bunch of the AAA talents. Like, it's a recipe for massive success. And really, just the idea that you could get three major promotions in the US, plus Impact, which is like, you know, three and a half. It's really we are one promotion springing up from out of nowhere basically away from having the most thriving pro wrestling scene in this country since at least the 90s.
And it would be beautiful. And I got to tell you, just a couple of things just to respond to your points. Because I saw the tweet from Chris Bay that you interacted with
Yep.
saying that we needed like an all-black wrestling promotion and stuff like that. And I'm like, fuck
That's not
yeah.
even what he said. He just said a black-owned wrestling promotion.
That's what he said, black-owned. And there is a difference there. But yeah, black-owned, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, like
and
I wouldn't need to be all black. Like I was thinking, like you bring in like some of the ROH guys, like Dalton Castle would be a fucking welcoming. You know, bring him in. You know, like it's Dalton Castle's one. Who else did
I say
mention?
again, dude, that a guy like AR Fox that he's not
Yeah,
employed by one of the big companies,
absolutely,
probably
and
because
especially
maybe of the
because
stigma
now
of like
fucking
his daytime work.
Strickland.
Yeah.
Now Strickland is on the market, so you could reignite that fire.
Oh, dude, like you saying if Lucha Underground was still around today, do you know how I would be salivating about the potential of Morrison coming back to Lucha Underground and doing another run?
Morrison's another
I'd be
one.
like all
Morrison's another
Yeah.
one. Like I said, it doesn't have to be an all black promotion. I just happen to notice that there's a significant amount of very talented black wrestlers that are free agents now because WWE seemed to release them in bunches.
But I do appreciate you correcting me because I do think there is, you know, it is very important what Chris Bay said is like black owned because even when you look at the territories and stuff like that, you know, wrestling always being more of a blue collar thing, you can imagine like the type of people that owned it and stuff like that. I think it would be huge if we got a black owned wrestling promotion. Like I'm all for that. I am absolutely all for that. But yeah, I worry about the state of the business. I mean, because here's the thing. When you get that big, I mean, you see what WWE can do because they're so big and they have the reach that they do. There's a general malaise to me that hangs over the product, and they can fire people without impunity because there is no union. And really, like, you really want me to look at AEW differently? I'll jump at the chance if I ever hear that their wrestlers have organized a union or have done something. So yeah, like there's a lot in the business that is happening that I'm not necessarily thrilled with, and I do wonder the trajectory of the business in the next 5-10 years, especially for the indies to keep the question focused. I don't really see that going well. And yeah, as far as an AEW developmental, again, that's where this all started from. I guess that's an all right idea, but I don't like what that signals for the independent scene at all. So
I already like, dude. Here's the thing: I already don't like that Cody and company are kind of prioritizing the students at QT Marshall's wrestling school over independent wrestlers. Like, it's a problem that I've already noticed and I've already kind of griped about and preached about, and that's just a problem that isn't going away. So for them to not only have their own little wrestling school that they're cherry picking from, that they're giving people opportunities. It's purely like, I don't even know what the word is for that. That basically is like nepotism, but for your friends instead of family. But that's basically what it is. Like QT Marshall happens to be pals with Cody, and so not only does he have a job, which really the dude's a fucking schmuck, he probably shouldn't be on TV at all. But now all of his students are going to get opportunities before everyone else, and it's like this is the biggest problem with AEW is how much of just like if you it's like it's all about who you know. Like if you know someone in the in group, then you have a shot. If not, you have to work twice as hard and get noticed by twice as many people to have a shot, you know?
And dude, I don't want to take the conversation off track here. Okay, so I'm kind of tentative to say some stuff because it's like, okay, well, now you're going out of pocket. But like, I think about Brian when he left, right? And apparently Vince was like, oh, we'll even let you do the G1. And apparently he didn't even know what the G1 was. But like, why, when you're a big company, won't you let your performers even get that experience? Like, I'd love, for example, right, if Sasha was like, Vince, I feel like I can up my game. Maybe I feel like I'm in a bit stale. Sure, go to Japan for a couple months. Do a run with Stardom, but make sure, it's always known that you're WWE Sasha Banks or whatever. Like, I just hate that everything, it feels like a fishbowl, I think is what I'm trying to articulate. The wrestling world feels so small, but we know that it isn't. And I can't reconcile that. I can't reconcile that it isn't necessarily actually small, but I think in America it feels that way because there are two big competitors sucking up everything else. And then I think COVID has not helped matters because of how it slowed things down. But like, yeah, man, like you said, a third promotion springing up that's like upstanding, and maybe it can be ahead of their time if they can help it, like a Lucha Underground was. I think would be great, and I think it would really liven things up.
Yeah.
Oh,
All right, let's get into our next question from Super Blue. With Juice Robinson's
yes.
New Japan contract expiring in January, where should he go if not staying with New Japan?
My hope is that he stays with New Japan. I want to see him back in New Japan. I don't like that he's been in Impact this long. Although, granted, haven't really watched it, so maybe he's done great stuff, and maybe I'm the fool here. But like, I love him so much in New Japan, and
Mm-hmm.
seeing Ospreay succeed, and then not even seeing Juice be like an IC champion yet, which I thought he would have been on track to do. Really, like I think even 2 years ago, is really fucking frustrating to me. So yeah, I want him to commit to New Japan, and I really don't want him to go back to WWE because honestly, with this wave of releases and everything, how long would he even fucking last? He's got something good in Japan. He's cultivated a reputation. He's probably more than acclimated to the area for how long he's been there.
Yeah.
Don't uproot yourself to take a gamble that isn't even really a gamble. Because see, at least to me with a gamble, it's like, I believe in my talent enough. And things look like they'll at least platform me for a little bit. I don't even know that with this fucking company anymore. They might debut him like 1 week and then leave him in catering for 5 weeks, and then it just becomes that whole mess. And so, no, stay in Japan. Keep
Yeah.
grinding in Japan.
Like, here's my thing. Juice Robinson is in an unfortunate position where every wrestling company has serious flaws with how they choose their top guys. Uh, and it basically means that no meritocracy exists in a wrestling promotion with a TV show. Because with WWE, if you're not one of Vince's chosen ones, you're just floating no matter what.
Yeah.
In I don't even know. Like with Impact, I genuinely do not know what the fuck they're doing. Like this is a company that decided to push Tessa Blanchard to the moon to the point that she became the first ever world champion in a major American wrestling, a televised American wrestling promotion ever that I know of. Fucking AEW again, it's all about, it revolves around whether you are part of the in group. If you're in the elite or know and are friends with the elite, that's how you get featured, period. It's that simple. Um, with, fucking New Japan, Juice is just in that weird, awkward situation where they very clearly see him as having a certain ceiling, and he's never going to be able to break past that ceiling. And at the end of the day, he just has to figure out what situation he's happiest in. Does he want to go to WWE and float at best, if not be in catering at worst, and then get released at worst? Does he want to go to AEW and hope to just kind of carve out a niche spot on the product where he gets over and maybe gets a TNT title run out of it if he's lucky? Does he want to try and cut his teeth in Impact and hope that they decide to, get Froggy and Leap on him and make him their world champion one day? Or does he want to just stay in New Japan and just dwell in the mid card for the rest of his career? Like, those are his options right now. There isn't a major promotion in the world right now where Juice Robinson is a likely main event star, period. And it's depressing as fuck.
Sucks.
Yeah.
That fucking, like, you just destroyed me, dude. You just fucking destroyed me. Jesus Christ.
But the thing is, like, I'm not trying to hurt your feelings.
I know that. Yeah,
I'm just
hurts.
trying to, like, think through Juice's options, you know? And, like, what does he do? There is no good option for him. Like, I had similar thoughts about Keith Lee, but I think Keith Lee is a guy that if he went to Impact or AEW, he could be a world champion there.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
So.
Yeah. Damn.
it's very upsetting. Because Juice really is one of the best baby faces in the world when he's allowed to just be himself.
Dude, he worked so hard for it, too. Like, I think that's what gets me, because you know how you and I really came to Mina's defense, and so much so that she made #1 on both of our Stardom Pay 5s. You and I genuinely do look at wrestling as meritocracy. It's like, if you work your ass off and we see it, like, you know, we'll be there for you. And I feel like Juice, very similar to Mina, really worked his ass off. And you know what? The thing about Juice, and that's why, like, I know you weren't trying to hurt my feelings, and you didn't, like, hurt my feelings per se, but, like, I recognize the truth in what you're saying, and it stings. That's why it hurts.
Right.
Because, to me, Juice is, like, a classic 80s babyface, but with, like, that contemporary flair. And it just fucking works. It really fucking, like, I'll be honest with you guys. You could not really get me, unless I was in a really rare good mood, because I don't really watch much wrestling outside of TWitWoW anyway, to watch, like, a Bret Hart match or an early Shawn Michaels match where he was babyface or whatever. But I feel like I get that experience watching Juice Robinson. And it's really fucking incredible. And it sucks that, again, everything Ashton said, I feel like he is on point and he is telling the truth. Because, yeah, I wish New Japan especially would take a chance on him. I'm not even asking them to put the world title on him. Although, to be honest, that championship is so fucking cursed. I think Juice would be one of the best things to happen to it. But, you know, and now he can't win the Intercontinental title because there is no Intercontinental title. And hopefully Okada can bring that back. But even if he did, I have no reason to believe that they'd put it on him. So it really sucks because I'm like, what pictures are we looking at? Because I know what I'm looking at. I want to know what New Japan specifically is looking at.
Right.
And it's just, yeah, it's frustrating. So, next question.
Next question from Super Blue is, why does Dolph Ziggler, Natalya, Robert Roode, and others still have jobs after these BS releases?
I don't know. Because it was...
Natalya's easy. Nepotism.
Dolph could be a tenured thing. They could think that he still makes the other guys look good and shit. I don't know.
Ziggler and Roode are both, like, they just get kept around because they're fucking generic jobbers, basically. Like, they're both really good at selling and making other people look good, and that's, you know, and then obviously Vince likes them.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Sometimes that's all it takes, you know?
Absolutely, yeah. In the wrestling business, it's who you're friends with.
Spelled Robert Roode, R-H-O-O-D-E.
But...
Robert Roode. Next question from Super Blue. Do you feel like the Republicans are starting to gain momentum for elections next year?
Oh, Dems are going to get demolished in 2024, I think.
No. Next year, 2022, midterms.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, if I say they're going to get demolished in 2024, I think they're already building momentum now. And, well, here's the thing. Actually, no, because I want to, again, I'm really trying to approach this Q&A of being as substantive as possible and not just trying to, you know, get through these. I look at it more that it's less, it's a little of both. Because I do think in some ways the Republicans are getting momentum, right? But I think also the Democrats are helping the Republicans because they don't know strategy for fucking shit. Yeah. Like, you look at the Virginia governor's race, and this is where I do agree, even though I do think they're kind of pretentious at times, like Kyle Kowinski and, like, internet news sources like that. Yeah. They say that, like, you know, the Dems, they focus on culture war stuff, like critical race theory and this and that, which yeah, absolutely with the Republicans, it's a straw man and everything else. But, like, focus on working class issues. Focus on universal health care or UBI or another stimulus or whatever. Because if you go there, That is such bipartisan support among Democrats and Republicans. You're going to win every time. But when the Republican, what was his name? Mencken? I don't know what his fucking name was. But when he was like, oh, we get critical race theory out of the schools, and his Democratic opponent, McCullough, decided, oh, yeah, I'll engage you on that turf, you're going to lose. Don't play into their terms. Dictate your own. Make them come to you, right? That's how you fucking win. And so they're bad at strategy in that way. They are fucking pitiful. Because, like, I'm sorry, this is the perfect time to talk about it. And Ash, and I apologize, like, if I'm hogging the question from you.
No.
I just wanted to, because I just wanted to get all this out. You look at the Build Back Better plan. Originally $10 trillion, which would have gone to radical, and I mean that in the best fucking way, because we need radical thinking and radical solutions when we look at all the existential threats that we're facing as a nation and generally as a species when you think about climate change. $10 trillion. And because of the political process, I'll tell you, if you're a political science student or major or whatever, this is the best education you're ever going to get. Because when you see it go from 10 trillion to, I think it was like 5 trillion, to now just under $1 trillion, and they still celebrate it like it's this great victory, like they don't help themselves that way. Because at least with Republicans, here's the thing, they'll lie to you. I'm not saying Republicans don't lie, but the things that they tell you the truth about that actually curries favor with their base, they do follow through on. And it's the most heinous shit, you know, because it's very discriminatory and stuff like that. But at least they know what their base is, they play to it, and they more or less try not to piss him off. I mean, Trump was a weird case because a lot of people ended up turning on him during his presidency that were like Republican factions and like, oh, I thought he'd bring these jobs back and I thought he'd do this. But, you know, they paid the lip service. Dems, you've got people like Obama giving speeches like, oh, and he's not going to take care of all of his problems for you. But you gotta keep voting. You gotta get out there, and we gotta do it little by little. So you're literally preaching, and you're admittedly impressive rhetoric. Obama was always a very impressive orator, so I was able to get away with his war crimes. You're pretty much preaching incrementalism. You think my generation is going to be fucking slow? You think Ashton and I are sold on that? And then Hillary wants to talk about, what was it that she said? Oh, January 6th was about civil rights or some shit. Like, how disconnected are you fucking people that you don't even know what's happening? In the UK, I actually saw a chilling video last night. And this is why the whatever the Democratic equivalent is in the UK, they're probably not prepared for it. We wouldn't be prepared for it here. The alt-right, they made a video game where you pretty much kill Black Lives Matter protesters. And it is reaching young kids, and far-right terrorism in ages, I think it was like 17 to something, went from 8% to 15%. So alt-right youth is becoming a thing in the UK, right? And then in the US, you see the domestic terrorism that happens here, mass shootings that happen here. There was another school shooting in Michigan recently. And then they tried to paint it like, oh, it's near Detroit, you know, which that certainly isn't like a fucking dog whistle or has racial undertones, right?
Jesus Christ.
Like, and then the whole media infrastructure is going to pat the Democrats on the ass like, oh, there's this courageous legislation and this and that. And then when they think about people that'll run, I told Ashton, a poll came out, I guess from people that were polled who they thought the Democrats should run or would run. Michelle Obama topped the fucking list. Like, Jesus Christ. So that's to come back to the question, because I promise you I didn't lose the thread. Will Republicans win or like dominate, or they're gaining momentum for 2022? You bet your ass they are, because they are starting to hone in on that Trumpism and kind of doing their own version of it, which is kind of like Trump light, I would say. Even though Trump, you could maybe even make an argument that he himself was Trump light in some of his policies and the things he backpedaled on. And they know the turf that they want to fight on. Every liberal media outlet is fake news. Trans people are taking over the world. Black Lives Matter is a terrorist organization, and it wins. And where the Democrats lose is they're trying to untangle the knots of the reality that Republicans have created, which isn't going to fucking happen. It's a hydra. You try and cut off one head, two more are going to grow in its place. You need to focus on the material reality of all people. Yes, we should have 15, honestly, at this point, $25 minimum wage. $25 minimum wage. Yes, we should have paid family leave, universal health care, universal pre-K, all this stuff. We should combat climate change radically. If you do that and you stay with that and then you get in office and you don't go to the fucking center, but you actually govern the way that you preached on the campaign trail, you will win. People that reward their constituents materially with improved quality of life fucking win. but you're not going to win on the rhetorical side against culture war and all this bullshit. And they haven't figured it out. And it's frustrating that they haven't figured it out because it's so simple. I literally just spelled it out. I haven't known a day of politics in my life. Ashton's known it for years. He's never done a day of politics in his life. So how is it that people whose job it is to know it, and I already know the answer because it's not the answer that the corporations and their donors want. So it goes back to Ashton's answer that he says over and over, and rightfully so, get money out of politics. But here's the thing, I feel like you can win even with your money in your politics. They're just really bad at fucking optics, and I want to shake them. So yeah, that's my answer to that, Ashton. I am so sorry. I've been kind of holding that in because they just pissed me off. If there's anything you want to add, please feel free. I'm giving you the floor.
Well, dude, here's the problem. And I kind of feel bad because I feel like I'm about to invalidate a lot of what you just said. The problem is not, oh, they could win even if money wasn't in politics. The problem is that they're not winning on purpose because of the money in politics.
I don't even understand. Like, you're gonna have to go into that. Like, why would you lose on purpose if your donors are clearly throwing money into your campaigns?
Well, you're thinking about more of an individual basis, but what pays more, being in office or running for office?
I would think running, I guess, just because of only like campaign donations.
Exactly. Obviously, being in office, has its perks too. But these are career politicians we're talking about. And if the Democrats would actually try to improve the material lives of the people that they're supposed to be governing, they wouldn't get all the donations from all the big corporations. And long term, it would lower their paychecks. It would make them have less of an income. They would make less money over time, right? But if they pretend to care about people and they continue to make these milquetoast, lukewarm policies that don't actually help anyone, and if anything, really fuck people over, it doesn't really matter to those people. It doesn't really matter in the sense that if they lose their election, they can just try again in a couple years, raise a whole fuck ton of a lot of money in the meantime, and including from those donors and the corporations and shit. And just running is a really, really great way for them to bring in a bunch of money and taking in fundraiser money and donations and all that shit. And if there's ever a point in, because if you think about it, if Democrats and Republicans just ran on the shit that their side of the party's constituency cared about, Democrats would win every fucking time, right? If Democrats ran on universal health care, which is like the number one issue in the country and has been for a while now, if they ran on universal child care, literally, if they just ran on the shit that polls highest and they didn't worry about, like you mentioned, the culture war and all that stuff, they would win every fucking time. And they know.
So we do agree on that point that they shouldn't fight on like fucking right wing territory.
Well, they absolutely shouldn't if their goal is to win elections, but I don't think it is.
Right. Okay.
I don't think their goal is to win elections, because if they wanted to, if they really wanted to, if they cared about winning, they could very easily, even by lying. They don't even have to come out and say, or they don't even have to follow up on the shit that they say. They won't stay in office for as long if they do that, but who cares? They could literally just come out and say, we need Medicare for all, we need child care for all, we need to abolish student debt. Those three policies alone would win probably 85% of Democrats their elections that run on it. And if not more, actually. It'd probably be closer to 100, I don't know. But if there's one person saying that, and there's another person saying fake news, trans people are not real people, and, fucking Jews, which is basically the Republican argument in a nutshell, the coherent one that's going to actually help people is going to win every fucking time. Even if there are 40% of people that are dumb enough to buy into the Republican bullshit. That's a high estimate, by the way. Like, if Democrats just ran on the shit that polled highest, and that's the thing, too. It's like, it's almost a matter of marketing, right? Because it's really as simple as like pull people on what they want and then tell them what they want to hear. That's all it is. It's that simple. But for some reason, and this is like where you seem to be baffled, it just seems like the Democrats don't want to do that. But in my opinion, they are not interested in winning all of their elections. Like as a party, they're not interested in winning all their elections because that would require them to basically have to take lower paydays, smaller paychecks, get paid by fewer big interests, etc.
But can I ask you something about that though? Because like, I feel like I understand what you're saying. I think anyway, and maybe my question will further illuminate it. But like, isn't that a bit short-sighted? Because like, hear me out here, right? So on the campaign trail, when you're campaigning, you obviously make more money. We do agree on that because you said emphatically yes when I said campaign trail.
Yeah.
However, like when you're in power, though, I feel like that is the steady stream of income because then you're able to return the favor through like, porking your bills. Like, oh, I'll make sure you guys can build your pipeline on this site or whatever. But if you lose, why would they keep giving you money if you're never going to return that into actual material favors for your donors? You get what I'm saying? So that's the important part about being in office. So I feel like if I'm a donor, I'm pissed that they're not winning because
you're thinking about it like corporations are trying to save money. You got to realize like the corporations are going to give money to everyone that has a chance so that if that person wins, they're in their pocket.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. Just
like,
sucks.
Think about it this way. If you are a big corporation, let's say you're Exxon, right? Let's say you're Exxon and it is your number one interest to make sure that you can continue drilling for oil, right?
Right.
Would you rather really try to get in touch with the people who are voting in elections to really figure out who's probably going to win any given election? Or would you rather just give money to everyone running and hope that nobody that you forgot about wins?
I mean, certainly the latter when you put it that way.
Right.
So you're just saying it just doesn't really matter then because you're just buying every politician.
Well, that's how all the politicians end up being fucking corrupt, man, because they get to them early.
Well, no, actually, no. Like you don't understand that. That raises to me something more interesting because, like, obviously, I don't trust any politician. Like even like I've majorly even cooled off on people like AOC and stuff because I'm seeing where she's kind of going at seemingly more center.
Dude,
and I could see her being like Obama-esque.
Do you know what's fucking wild about AOC?
What's that?
I have been because I follow her on Twitter. I've been noticing just over the course of the last week, she has been much more vocal in her criticisms of Biden and the Biden admin lately.
And I wonder why that is. Because it wasn't that long ago that she was given.
Someone made a decision and that she might actually just decide to run for president now.
Maybe. And you know what? I'll tell you what, though. I'm just going to be honest because I'm going to listen to her rhetoric on the campaign trail if she runs. And then if by some miracle she wins, and I only say miracle because we know what's happening in this country. We talk all the time how the Overton window is far right. Yeah. So, like, we got to look at the optics. The optics of an AOC presidency to me are abysmal right now. But if she would win, I'd be very curious how she'd govern because I'm not optimistic at all. And I've never lied to you guys. And I even told Ashton. I once told Ashton if I ever simp for a politician, smack the shit out of me back to reality. I'm gonna hold her to the same standard as anybody else. I'm very suspicious because it did seem like that she was praising the Biden administration a lot. It's like, oh yeah, us progressives, we're getting what we asked for.
It seems like they I think they kind of burned her with the Build Back Better plan getting stripped down to what it is.
Well, I would fucking hope so, dude. Because, like, I don't know what the fuck is going on with AOC, but I already told you, like a while back when they voted on the Iron Dome for Israel. She was, I guess, going to vote, like, not present or something.
Yeah.
And Nancy Pelosi said something to her. She cried, and she voted present, which I guess her vote may not have really mattered. I think it was going to pass anyway. Yeah. But it's more like the principle of the thing, you know what I mean? So, like, what the fuck happened there? But, yeah, I mean, I guess going back to the general discussion so we don't get too far away from it, I get what you're saying, and I guess you're right.
Here it is.
I can concede that to you. But
I found her tweet. So she quote tweeted the New York Times breaking news about President Biden unveiling a winter COVID plan that includes insurance reimbursement for at-home tests and new travel protocols. And AOC quote tweeted it, and she said, around 28 million people in the US are uninsured, so subsidizing insurance companies doesn't help them. And making people hassle with insurance for a test cuts against the goal of frequent testing. The UK offers COVID tests free, and in other countries, tests are $5 or less. We can do better. Hashtag M4A.
Yeah, I'm just gonna be honest. I wish you would have kept that energy the entire presidency thus far, because I know Biden's term isn't over. But, like, that's the energy I want to see every fucking day. You stay on his neck. I don't even care if this dude's got world peace, like, under his belt. Anything that he hasn't done that he could move farther left on, you push him. Yep. That's what we all said, right? Oh, we'll vote for him because we'll just push him farther left. So, like, keep that energy up, AOC. I keep that energy up, everybody, because let me tell you something else. And there are members of the squad that I think have actually been more consistent than AOC, like Omar. I think has actually been more consistent than her. I kind of feel bad for Omar because Lauren Boebert, who is like another like far right representative, she had a speaking engagement recently where she more or less joked that Omar is a terrorist.
Yeah.
She was like, I got in an elevator. Oh, you saw that? Yeah. And like Omar, I feel like her voting record, her and Tlaib possibly, have been more consistent than even AOC, like, on some fronts. So, like, yeah, if AOC wants to show up to the party and be on Biden's neck, everybody's welcome, because it's not good. I was telling my grandmother the other day, because she never, like, cognizes that I'm a leftist, like, ever. She always asks me, you know, Trump or Biden, and I keep telling her, like, yeah, I guess Biden, but we need a new system. And then she asked me, well, who are you going to vote for in 2024? And I told her, the way things are looking, the fire. The fire. And she's like, what? And I'm like, yeah, the fire, because it's going to incinerate every oppressive institution. And she's like, well, how would that work? And I said, well, yeah, it's just going to burn every corrupt politician and every piece of shit. It's just going to burn them down. And she, like, got all exasperated. She's like, you can't do that. That can't happen. And without missing a beat, I told her, not with that attitude. Like, I am so over it. So if AOC wants to step up and really be that progressive candidate, Nina Turner, somebody I'm somewhat excited by. But again, I keep them all at a distance. Because you can talk really far left, but I'm really tired of politicians like that, and then they govern more to the center when they get power because they want to keep that power. Like, put your fucking balls on the table, put your fucking spine on the table, get some fucking shit done. But I yield my time. Let's move on to the next question.
All right, let's get on to it. Our fifth and final question from Super Blue: how do you feel about the rise and fall of Kevin Owens and bum-ass Corbin?
I mean, Kevin Owens is back on the rise again, and I'm pretty fucking sure he's going to be okay.
Yeah.
Because he's probably going to go to AEW soon. Corbin, that dude probably doesn't even give a shit, but I really didn't think they got enough out of bum-ass Corbin. I honestly felt like he might have even been a somewhat decent babyface with this gimmick, but no, he's just back to the same old heel that's pretty much like King Corbin, except not a king anymore, he's just happy. So, yeah, Corbin was the real rise and fall because he actually had something good going. Even when Owens is a heel, he's good. I just far prefer him as a babyface, and he's probably going to AEW soon. So, that's my thoughts on that.
True facts, man. Never been spoken.
Thank you, face. Fucking amazing.
Why do you keep calling me face?
I don't know. I'm just in a mood, man.
Oh, okay. Anyway. You ready to move on?
Yes.
Next set of questions are from Abel.
Awesome. Let's go. Let's
First
fucking
up,
do it.
when will one or both of you guys make an OnlyFans account? I feel like we've gotten this question before.
Abel, are you trying to tell us something? Mainly how attracted you are to me? Because the feeling's mutual. About me. I'm very attracted to myself. But you are also incredibly handsome. So, yeah, it's coming. Much like me, and probably you when the OnlyFans is made. But yeah, it's coming. So, what about you? When are you making an OnlyFans? Call it the fuck up.
NGTH.
I feel like the N stands for not, the G stands for gonna, the H stands for happen, but what does the T stand for if those three letters are correct? If they're correct.
The GT is going to.
Oh, not going to. Oh, there you go. There you go. All right, well, that's the disappointment worldwide. Way to let Abel down again. Jesus.
Second question from Abel: will we ever get a TWitWoW coin?
No.
Way to let Abel down, John. Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah. Except I'm actually saving the environment.
Yeah, so am I.
Next question.
Third question from Abel. Which member of the TWitWoW community would have the best odds to win Squid Game? Revel.
Definitely Revel. Yeah, you know what? You're not even wrong. Revel, 100%. that motherfucker would kill everybody before the third game even started. I don't fucking sleep. I go for the neck, and fuck all of you, I find a way. Like, he would, no, not only would he win Squid Game, low key, I think this dude is so fucking chaotic, he'd speed run Squid Game.
Oh my god. Fourth and final question from Abel. I wish he would have asked 5. It's only 4 this time. How do you think that the recent inflation caused by COVID will affect people in the next few years? And he actually did add a little more detail here. He specifically added that despite wage increases for the average hourly worker, they have seen a net negative return due to the significant bump in inflation caused by the COVID pandemic.
This question kind of triggered me, but not for the reasons you might think, Abel. Because I do. Like, I never... I know sometimes I make a production of your political questions, but it's mainly because, like, everything is so bad, right? And it's more the reality of our politics that depresses me more than your question. Why this triggered me is because I am a business administration, like, degree recipient. I do have an associate's degree in business administration. And I took both micro and macroeconomics, and I hated all of it. So this kind of brings me back to my community college days. I guess it'll affect them pretty negatively, mainly because, again, we're not investing in American people with, like, universal college and healthcare and, like, again, now $25 an hour minimum wage, which it absolutely should be. By the time the nationwide we have $15 minimum wage, it's just going to be the same effect that $7.50 is right now. So because we're not spiritedly investing in the workforce and just in the American citizenry more generally, yeah, it probably is going to be a pinch, you know, this inflation in the coming years. I don't know how bad. I mean, my sister even noted, because I did grocery shopping for my family the other day, how prices have gone up on certain items. I don't know if we're going to be like, you know, Germany bad, where they're burning their euros and then we pave the way for that kind of totalitarianism. Low key, I think we're already kind of here, but that's beside the point. But I do think some people will definitely struggle, even more than they already have, which is depressing to think about. You have anything to add to this?
No, I'm just depressed now.
Yeah.
Really, it's not a now thing. It's an anytime I think about the state of affairs thing.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
All right, next set of questions are from Chiefin, believe it or not. I feel like it's been a long time since he'd asked Q&A questions, but yeah, Chiefin actually did go and ask some questions here. First up, do you want Kyle O'Reilly to re-sign with WWE to be forgotten about in NXT, or leave WWE and possibly join Cole and Fish in AEW?
That's not really what I want. It's what's going to happen. I definitely feel like he's going to go to AEW, and really what I want generally when I get outside of my own perspective is for every wrestler, especially those that I do like, to prosper. It's always preferable if they prosper in a place where I can see them or want to see them. But, you know, I want O'Reilly to prosper. He's a good dude. He seems like a genuine dude, and he's talented at what he does, which is what matters in a wrestling context. So, yeah, go to AEW. Absolutely.
I want to play a quick little game with you. Hopefully this doesn't take more than like 5 minutes.
Oh, boy. What's the game? What are we doing?
I want to talk about what wrestlers have gone to AEW and wrestlers that might potentially go to AEW, and like what amount that performer has motivated you or would motivate you to watch the product.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
So I'm just gonna name 4 big free agents that have gone there over the last year. Start with Malachi Black.
Didn't move the needle for me at all.
Andrade Cien Almas.
Didn't move the needle for me at all.
CM Punk.
Didn't move the needle for me at all, besides the one thing we reacted to.
We reacted to something CM Punk related?
But didn't we react, or didn't we watch together? We either reacted or we just watched together privately, like his return promo. Because everybody was making like a big deal about that. I did watch that. So like he moved the needle a little bit.
Yeah, I think we watched that, but I don't think we reacted to it. Maybe we did, I don't know. Bryan Danielson.
Didn't move the needle for me at all.
Holy shit. Didn't make you feel like, oh, maybe I should just tune into that one thing?
No.
Damn.
All I watched were the little isolated clips that you sent me, like the streamable things.
Oh, you know what? 5th name, Adam Cole.
Didn't move the needle for me at all.
Jesus
I think I've
Christ.
watched like I think I only watched like one YouTube clip.
Holy shit. Okay. Future wise, let's talk about Kevin Owens.
He could move the needle for me.
Sami Zayn.
At the well, wait, let me just specify. I would maybe watch like the first handful of like shows and pay-per-views KO was a part of and go from there. Sammy maybe even same like Kevin Owens. I think Sammy's really good, like on the mic and everything else. I'd be curious what he would do there.
Okay, how about your boy John Morrison, Johnny Mundo, Johnny Nitro, Johnny
Oh,
Johnny
God,
Dynamite.
you know, I would want to watch him because I feel bad that I never watched enough of his Impact run. Because he did become world champion there, and I know he had a heel run there, and it seemed really good. But I really just didn't watch it. So I would want to make a concerted effort for him for sure.
What if it was a package deal, him and Ty together?
Oh hell yeah, I think they could do a lot of damage for sure.
All right, Keith Lee.
Honestly, wouldn't move the needle for me at all.
Okay, Strickland.
Honestly, wouldn't move the needle for me at all. I like them, but like I'm thinking like, would I go out of my way to really watch them? And I've never felt that connection with them the way that I do, especially Kevin and Jomo personally.
Interesting. Okay. Is there anyone that I didn't name that would move the needle for you at all?
No.
Damn, that's rough.
Yeah, that's AEW. So next question.
Next question for Chiefin is: can we get more Joshi wrestlers on a weekly basis, please?
In my fucking utopia, absolutely. God. So well, I guess we'll see what happens, though. I mean, Joshi is steadily growing in my mind, or at least it feels like it's growing. Then again, that's only from my perspective.
I want more TJPW women in AEW. Like, I obviously want Maki Ito to have more of a prominent role in AEW, but also, how the fuck have they brought in Yuka and Shoko and even Ito, but not Miyu? What?
Yeah, I don't get that.
Right? Anyway, I guess WWE wise, I mean, yeah, obviously, I think you and I both have been advocating for them to do more with their Joshis, which they don't have many of. Like, it literally was just Asuka at one point, then they added Kyrie, then they added Io, now they have Saray. That's the list, pretty much. I don't think they have any other Japanese women on their entire roster. It's those three since Kyrie's gone. And really, it's just two because fucking Asuka's been injured pretty much all year. And really, it's only one because Saray is never featured on TV anymore. So it's just Io at this point. And even Io is somehow underutilized by WWE. Like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah, it's pretty fucking wild.
I'm just glad she's in more games, honestly.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, third question from Chiefin. Have you guys watched the live-action Cowboy Bebop series? And if you have, how did you enjoy it?
We're in the midst of it. I'm enjoying it so far. How have you felt about it?
You know, here's my thing. I've actually thought about this question when I first read it, and I was like, you know, I've enjoyed it, and I think I've actually enjoyed it more than the animated series. But obviously, we're not that fucking into it because we consistently prioritize it behind literally everything else.
That is true.
So, like,
that is very true.
7 out of 10 tops?
That sounds agreeable. Yeah, I would say that.
All right. So then, fourth question from Chiefin. How do you feel about AEW finally putting Miro in the world title scene?
Again, didn't move the needle for me at all. So, but let's see what he can do. Let's see what he can do. If he maximizes his minutes and he gets over with fans that actively watch the product, then he can thumb his nose at WWE and be like, fuck you, I made it. If not, at least he can answer the question. Even if it flops, at least he can say, well, I got my shot. And that's more than a lot of people can say. So I'm happy for the dude regardless.
All right, fifth and final question from Chiefin. Can we all agree that Bryan Danielson's AEW run so far has been a lot of fun? I can agree with that for sure.
Yeah, I haven't watched it, so I'll take Ashton's word for it.
You watched the Suzuki match at least? That's more than nothing.
Oh, yeah, I did. But honestly, again, like, I think I even said this on another recording. If we weren't reacting to that, I don't even really know if I would have checked that out. I don't know. Like,
dude,
I don't know.
I honestly can recommend, like, straight up, I don't do this very often, but if you ever, it's like a Sunday and you're bored and you're maybe between books or something and you just have maybe a half hour, 45 minutes, maybe an hour to kill, go back and watch all of Danielson's singles matches on Dynamite post Full Gear, because he has been on a fucking rampage. I guess that was kind of a pun because that's another AEW show, but he's been on a warpath, killing members of the Dark Order. Like 2 weeks ago, he faced Evil Uno, and he beat him up pretty bad, but it wasn't too horrible. But he also, before the match, cut a promo on Hangman, and he mentioned Wrestlemania, and it started getting booed. And he has been on a full-blown heel warpath since then. Last week, he beat the fuck out of Colt Cabana, literally broke his teeth. You could literally see after the match, after Bryan won, he walked over to the something on the mat, picked it up, and showed it to the camera. It was a fucking tooth. And then, this week, it was Alan Angels whose ass he beat. And after the match, he cut a promo talking about, I'm pretty sure I felt Alan Angels' MCL tear in that submission.
Mine's got some demons, huh? What the fuck?
Dude, I think I've already said live that I've never seen him more fucking alpha than he is right now. But when he's a heel, it's somehow even more escalated. Like he's somehow even more of a fucking Chad.
Yeah, wow.
It is genuinely hilarious and like compelling, and I can't recommend it enough. He is far and away, like nothing compares, nothing comes close. Far and away, the most entertaining thing on Dynamite to me.
Yeah, good shit, man.
Next set of questions are from Revel. First up, if all of TWitWoW were involved in a battle royale for the TWitWoW World Championship, what would the statistics be?
I think you'd get the most eliminations. I
It
feel
would
like Foster
definitely
would last.
take the most people to eliminate me if I didn't just win the thing.
Yeah, I think Abel would last the longest, him or Foster, because they're all hard.
Nobody would
I
want
would
to
be.
attack them.
Well, yeah, obviously. What are you, a heel? I would be the shortest lasting by far because I'd eliminate myself the moment the bell rang. I'd be like, no, this is stupid. I'm out.
You'd pull a Santino, grab your collar, grab your waistband, and just jump over the top rope.
Exactly. Exactly. Oh my god, yeah. Absolutely. And yeah, what other stats would there be? I already gave you most eliminations, shortest lasting for me, longest lasting for Abel. I think I'll cut it off there because I actually did give actual stats.
Who would be the final four?
You, Abel, Foster, and I gotta go Revel again, man, because of that chaos. I think he'd find a way to like survive and adapt and all that shit.
I feel like Chaos, or I'm literally calling him Chaos now. I feel like Revel would be at like the top of the list of shortest lasting. Because if anyone's going to eliminate themselves, it's the dude that's chaotic as shit, right?
Yeah, that is fair.
Like he strikes me like his character would be like so like fucking super crazy, where he like literally it's a battle royal, but someone that he just really doesn't like gets eliminated, and he goes up to the top rope and does a dive onto them to eliminate himself anyway.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of the character
Jesus.
that I feel like he would be in wrestling.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, let's move on. Second question. This one's actually just for me. And he said, what are some things that you have been enjoying from Impact Wrestling? Really anything Moose, Chris Bay. I was enjoying Deanna's reign while she had it. God, that might be it. That might be the extent of like the stuff that I'm really into as far as Impact goes.
All right.
Oh, Willie Mack. Absolutely, Willie Mack. I don't want to forget him. He's incredible. He like those four, literally, and not even we don't even have to include Deanna because like Deanna, we know she's good, but she's like found her place. We don't need to displace her. But you take Willie Mack, Moose, and Chris Bay and put them literally fucking anywhere, and I will watch that promotion because those three dudes are amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. Max fucking awesome. I agree.
Moose is literally fucking Black Okada. I don't care what anyone says. That dude is insane.
I'm happy he's getting his shine, man. I feel like Moose really put the time in. So good for him.
All right, third question from Revel. If TWitWoW had its own TV tropes page, just how much lore would be written down?
Oh God, I've heard of TV tropes, but it's like been so long. Somebody remind me what that is.
Oh God, you think I know?
Oh yeah, well I'm just gonna say probably a fuck ton because we have a very passionate fan base. Sometimes
Yeah.
weirdly so. So I know that a lot of liberties would be taken as far as tropes and everything. So probably a fuck ton.
Yeah, we really do.
Definitely more than I would anticipate.
We really do have a lot of history because like it even dates back to like pre-TWitWoW when we were just, where you were pacifist and I introduced myself to you and you started plugging me and I got a bunch of hate because you were plugging someone that didn't have any videos, and then like the whole thing with the Horsemen and your hiatus, and then us coming back for pay-per-views only, and then eventually starting to actually cover shows again, and like there's a whole ass history there that I'm sure a lot of our newer fans, because I feel like probably at least 60%, if not more, of our audience found us through Lucha Underground.
Yeah, that's true. I think Lucha Underground was really the tipping point for us in that way.
Yeah. A lot of the people that are here right now found us through Lucha Underground. And that to me, like, that was this channel's golden age. Lucha Underground was absolutely my favorite era in wrestling history, but also just in this channel's history. Really. Because I feel like that was the one time where we could just rely on that every single week. We had an amazing wrestling show, and like the worst times were when it was out of season. Like that's when we did our rewatches because we loved it that fucking much.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, all right, next up, if you could control magic, what type would it be?
I didn't even know that there were different magical types. I guess elemental magic, right? Controlling the elements like fire, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I don't really know how different that makes me from like an avatar, but yeah, I just most immediately think I would want to like, transmute the earth and, stuff like that to my benefit. So almost really like being alchemy, but like supercharged. That's kind of where my mindset's at personally.
Right.
So
Yeah, there are different types of magic. Like there's object magic, where like you can like enchant objects to make them special. Like there's, you could like turn a candle into like an everlasting candle where you don't even have to, nothing actually burns, it just stays on forever. Or like there's, little stuff like that. That would be, I would guess you would call that enchantment. There's like witchcraft where you can like fuck around with, like voodoo dolls and shit. Um, there's like the Harry Potter style magic where it's like you got a wand and you can cast spells and shit. There's necromancy, which is fucking with the dead. There's like astrological magic. Like there's all kinds of stuff. I think
I'm a basic bitch. I think object magic would be where I'd want to at least start.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah. God. I've always been into like the idea of being able to cast spells. So I think I would pick that. I'd be able to like just the idea of like being able to cast a spell like on God, an area. Like I keep on thinking of like either Harry Potter or like there's like a mod in Minecraft called Ars Magica that allows you to cast spells on stuff. And like there's one where you can cast a spell that'll shoot like a beam of light, and then wherever it lands, it'll basically create like a source of light from where that area is. So it'll light the area up without you having to be up against it. And like there's one where you can cast, like a dig spell, and it'll like you cast it and it'll shoot towards a surface, and whatever surface it lands on, it'll dig up a certain amount of that area. Or like you can cast spells on yourself to make yourself faster, stronger, be able to jump higher, that kind of stuff. Like that kind of stuff is what would be interesting to me personally.
Right.
Fifth and final question from Revel. What video game franchise should get a movie? An actual good movie.
GTA, right? Like, even just the Tommy Vercetti games between 3 and Vice City. Like, yeah, an actual good movie. Yeah, GTA. Because you could practically do it where it's like a mob movie or like a crime movie, but with the video game, like, GTA references and shit. I think it'd be the easiest to make, especially, again, if by good you mean it's going to be budget and stuff like that. It can easily mix between genres. Like, yes, it's a video game movie, but again, it might as well be like either a mob or a crime drama. And yeah, it's fucking easy. And I think, again, with how popular crime dramas and stuff are currently, it's plugged into the cultural moment. It's got its finger on the pulse. So yeah, GTA for me easily.
So it sounds almost like it would be really similar to the Fast and the Furious, and we know that's a super successful franchise without actually being good.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, that's a good answer for sure. I think for me, I would just I've been wanting an anime or an animated movie or an actual movie out of this since I was like 13 years old. Golden Sun.
Golden Sun, I think, would be great. Just knowing the premise, even though I haven't played the game for like shit, but in that animated realm, Sly Cooper, I think, would be another great game to movie adaptation if it actually had a budget. Oh my god, I think that would sell like gangbusters. So yeah, EDA and Sly Cooper for me if they actually had all the things needed to make it good. And yeah, Golden Sun for you. Can you think of any others?
Let me pull up my little list here of the games that I possess through piratey means. I mean, Fire Emblem is another really good one that has a really good story. Plus, you get a lot of fun fight scenes out of that. Let's see.
Oh, I like that answer, Foster. That's good.
Metroid Fusion would really any Metroid game would be make for a really interesting movie, especially if it was filmed right. Because like you could do, like you remember that Hardcore Henry movie where it was first person perspective.
Yeah.
I wonder if they could pull something like that off with like a Metroid movie.
I was just thinking WWE 2K20, the movie. This virus or whatever enters the game, and it's like, why are we so glitchy? What's happening? It could be like horror. It'd be like a sports horror movie or some shit. That'd be fascinating. Oh, God.
Yeah, I think I'm going to stop there.
All right, next question.
I'm sure the Persona games would make for some nice movies, too, although I haven't personally played those myself. God, yeah, Infamous would be an insane movie. Holy shit. That would be really ridiculous. Like, that would have to have, like, probably like a $400 or $500 million budget to pull off, because that would be ridiculous.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, next set of questions. We've got 3 from Just Alex. First up, what are your thoughts on Chrissy Teigen and Mr. Beast replicating Squid Game sets and games in real life?
Rich people are gonna rich, like it doesn't surprise me that they completely missed the fucking point and that they thought like, oh, that's cute, we should do that, babe, let's do that. It doesn't surprise me at all. That's all I'm gonna say about that. What about you, man?
I didn't even know about this. How did Mr. Beast get rich in the first place, by the way?
I have no idea. I don't even know who the fuck that is.
You don't know who Mr. Beast is?
No.
That's the dude that Mark Rober works with on these big charities like Team Trees and Team Seas and shit.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right.
Like, do you remember the video we watched where they first introduced Team Seas and Mark was like he wasn't really working. He was like chilling on that big ass auto trash collector that they put downstream from like a village that doesn't have trash collection.
Yeah.
Okay, well, the people that were doing the manual trash collection on the beach, that was all led by Mr. Beast. That was that whole thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I just want to know how the dude got fucking rich in the first place, because he's clearly fucking loaded if he can pull shit like this off. But, like, where did that money come from? How? How did he get this fucking rich? Because, like, last I heard of him, he was just, like, a regular-ass YouTuber, and, like, I know YouTubers can make good money, but they don't make money like that. Like, that is fucking stupid.
Money where they make other people fight each other for their money.
Yeah, like, that's... And maybe he, like, invested a bunch in, like, Doge and shit, and he's just fucking loaded now or something. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
Anyway, I guess we can move on. Second question from Just Alex. What are your thoughts on John Morrison and Hit Row being released from WWE?
Hit Row's a fucking travesty. Jomo was expected the moment they let Frankie go, and I found Frankie to be egregious. But yeah,
Dude,
Hit Row
low-key
was...
at this point, Frankie was more egregious than Johnny, because Johnny wasn't doing anything other than basically just being Miz's sidekick, whereas Frankie had a whole-ass promising future ahead of her in that company.
I'd agree with you, actually. Hell yeah. Hell yeah, I'd agree with you on that 100%. And I don't care if it's hyperbolic or not. I think Hit Row is one of the biggest missed opportunities of the last decade, at least.
Well, that brings us to our third question, actually. Out of the 80 people WWE has released in the last year, which one or ones do you see WWE regretting the most?
Definitely Keith Lee and Hit Row, and I'm even going to go farther and say I think Hit Row, if they stayed together as a unit, now if they branch off and do their own thing, obviously the value goes down, but if they decide to stick together and do stuff together, I could see it being a bigger loss than even Keith Lee. I think that group was really special, and WWE just didn't know it. So.
Or they did, and they just didn't care.
Yeah, and that's even worse.
It's also more likely, I think.
Yeah.
All right, next up. One question from Sean. What can Charlotte Flair do/change to get you to at least not hate her?
Literally be accountable for her own deficiencies as a performer.
That's all we want.
And notice I didn't even say anything mean-spirited there. Like, literally, just acknowledge where you're not good, which Jomo has done, which I'm sure other people that we've respected have done. I only say Jomo because we just got done talking about him. He openly said in interviews he needed to learn to cut promos. He was open about that weakness. Like, when she could own up to when she makes mistakes in the rings. I'm sorry, Sasha, I dropped you at that one SummerSlam. I'm sorry, Kyrie, that I slapped you in the face when you were concussed. Literally, I just want her to be accountable to herself as a person. That's it. And then I'd at the very least be like, okay, Charlotte, I'm never going to like you, but it is what it is, and I can tolerate it.
All right. Let's get into our next set of questions. They are from Alex Cage. First up, thoughts on CM Punk's AEW run so far?
Can't really comment much on it. Ashton, what do you think? Just being honest.
I know, it's just so funny. Yeah. I think it's been pretty good. He's very clearly still got it on the mic. In the ring, I don't think he was ever really all that stellar, and he's picked up right where he left off in that category, so he's fine. He's pretty much still doing what he always did well. That's simple. Apparently he's not that big of a money draw, unfortunately, which probably is at least partially the result of him being beat to fuck in UFC. But from an entertainment standpoint, yeah, he's been fine. Second question from Alex Cage is just for me. He said top 5 running backs going into the draft. Okay, Alex Cage. I want to just fill you in on a few things about me. First of all, it's barely December. I really haven't looked at any college football players that aren't quarterbacks or maybe some wide receivers. Like, quarterbacks and wide receivers are really the only positions I scout this early. So I don't really have much of an opinion on the running backs. But as far as running backs go, top 5 running backs going into the draft, does it even matter? Running backs don't really matter all that much. They're pretty interchangeable. You get one, you give him a bunch of carries, he eventually breaks down, you go get another one. It doesn't really matter. I actually saw a study that was done that proved through evidence and like a pretty significant sample size that something like 98% of a running back's average yards per carry can be determined simply by looking at the number of people in the box and how far away from the goal line that the offense is. So you take those two little variables into account and you can predict a running back's yards per carry to a 98% accuracy. That's insane. But that also tells me that the running back getting the carries doesn't fucking matter. So I know you wanted your top 5 running backs going into the draft, but I gave you something even more valuable, and that's the ability to understand that running backs don't matter. Third question, favorite and least favorite Thanksgiving sides and desserts?
Favorite candied yams by far. Least favorite, I'd say stuffing. I never really cared for it. What about you?
I agree with you on the stuffing. Fuck stuffing. I don't like stuffing. I've never liked stuffing. Stuffing can go stuff itself. Favorite, I would just say pumpkin pie, honestly. Keep it simple.
There you go.
If we're talking sides, because you did say sides and desserts, um, favorite, let me put it this way. Favorite dessert, either pumpkin pie or a pumpkin roll. I like both. Favorite side, I've always been partial to sweet corn myself. Big fan. Least favorite, already mentioned stuffing as my least favorite side. Least favorite dessert, though, I would go with the cranberry sauce.
See, and if we're counting cranberry sauce as a dessert, I'd actually put that above pumpkin pie. Although I have grown to like pumpkin pie over the years. I used to never eat the stuff. I thought it smelled like shit. But I've actually grown to like the taste like the last, I don't know, 3 years or so, maybe more. So, yeah, but I'll still say I put cranberry sauce above it because, man, the cranberry sauce I've had, again, around the same time, the last 3 years or so, I feel it down to my fucking toes. It's really insane. So, yeah.
Damn, that's intense.
Dude, I know. Like, yeah, it's fucking wild.
All right. Next set of questions are from Mark Schoneman. He asked us our favorite ... related to Spider-Man. The next 4 questions are all related to Spider-Man. Who was your favorite Spider-Man between Tobey, Andrew, Tom, or Miles Morales in the End of the Spider-Verse movie?
Okay. Tobey, Andrew, Tom, or Miles. I'm gonna be honest. Andrew's at the bottom for me. I can say that right now. I actually prefer Tobey over Andrew, but I think I prefer Tom above all of them. I think Tom's actually my favorite because I'll tell you, the end of what was it, Far From Home, where they take the trip to Europe and stuff. The end of that, particularly, and don't get me wrong, he's great throughout the whole movie. But the last, I remember even telling this to Ashton when we watched it for the first time together. The last 10 or so minutes is when he became Spider-Man to me.
Right, like
the way that he handled Mysterio,
where he's like in that enclosed like overhang with Mysterio, and like Mysterio like goes to hand him the glasses back, and Tom grabs his hand real quick because he realizes it's an illusion and it's actually a gun as he fires it. Like, oh god, that whole scene was fucking incredible.
I think it's one of actually the best MCU scenes, and I'm not even
Dude,
joking.
Believe it or not, Mark's 4th question is favorite moment, and that was my answer to favorite moment.
Yeah, I would agree with you actually, because just the way he carried himself in that, it's like that's fucking Spider-Man. And I gotta be honest, when I think about the Andrew movies, and I think even about the Tobey movies, and I like the Tobey movies, although I'll admit I don't think I ever watched in full the third one. I've only ever seen clips. Second one was Tobey's like best installation because Doc Ock was a great villain and everything like that. But I think even permitting that, that was like the best scene across like any Spider-Man. And Miles like Into the Spider-Verse, great movie. Maybe I'd have to watch it again just because Tom Holland's really on my mind and like Miles has kind of become faint. But I'd still probably put Miles above Andrew, and I don't know if I would put him above Tobey or not. But again, like Tom is by far my favorite Spider-Man. I'm honestly really excited to see what is it, No Way Home now in December this month.
Dude, I know. I can't wait either. I don't know if I even told you this. I got tickets to go see it on like Thursday, December 16th in 3D. I'm gonna go see it live.
Holy shit, dude. Well, that's the best Christmas present you could get as far as I'm concerned.
Hell yeah.
That's going to be fucking stellar.
Dude, the 2 3D tickets cost almost $30.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
All right. Was there more to that question? I'm sorry if I just need to be refreshed on something because I did rank them.
No. The idea was literally just who's your favorite Spider-Man. and that's it.
Yeah, definitely Tom Holland for right now.
I agree. Yeah. I would actually like. I kind of feel like there's more nuance to it though. I think Toby is my least favorite Spider-Man just because like I always envisioned Spider-Man as like a younger kid, and Toby was like a 25-year-old playing a high school kid, and it was fucking weird. And then you had
Right.
fucking, and then you had fucking Joe Manganiello playing Flash Thompson, and like he looks like he could be 35 in the movie. But yeah, like so, um, so I think Toby is far and away my least favorite out of the group. I really liked Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man, not as much as Peter Parker. I think his Peter Parker was a
Yeah.
lot worse. Like if we're ranking by Peter Parker's, I would put Andrew below Toby. But if we're ranking by Spider-Man's, Andrew would be like right in the mix with Tom and Miles, you know?
Yeah, yeah, that's agreeable to me, I think.
And admittedly, it's not really fair to ask me to rank Miles because we watched Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse like a little over a year ago, I would say, but I feel like
Yeah.
I had a really hard time paying attention to it because of the low frame rate really bothers my eyes.
Yeah.
So that's not really fair for me to answer. Second question from Mark: favorite non-Spider-Man character in the Spider-Man movies?
Favorite non-Spider-Man character? Definitely Mysterio in Far From Home. I mean, there was a guy in the animated series that always came off to me like a C-tier villain because I don't think they ever maximized his potential, but Far From Home maximized the potential of the idea of the villain. You know, being an illusionist and stuff like that. And like, man, he was a villain that came in at the right time, given all the like quote unquote fake news and deep fake technology that I think is going to become a very big concern in the next 5 to 10 years. He just came at the right time. I think by far my favorite non Spider-Man character in that universe. And then Doc Ock, I think, would be number 2 for me. And I'm just going to leave it at that.
All right. For me, I'm actually gonna say Gwen Stacy in the Amazing Spider-Man movies. I think she
Nice.
absolutely stole the show from Andrew Garfield, which apparently they were legitimately dating at one point. I don't know if it was during the filming of those movies or not, but to me, she felt more like the hero than he did a lot of the time. Because, like, if you remember in the first Amazing Spider Man movie, she saved his ass from the lizard at least once or twice. And then in the second one, with fucking Electro and the fucking goofy ass weird Dane DeHaan goblin, whatever the hell you want to call that thing, she would not let him basically turn her into the damsel in distress. Like she was like, "No, I need to help. I want to help. Let me help." And that was how she ended up getting killed. So like I feel like her character was like the best non-Spider-Man character out of all the movies. Honorable mention to Marissa Tomei, Aunt May.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, she's
Uh,
really good.
she's great. Third question from Mark. Favorite villain? Any specified movies only. Favorite Spider-Man villain?
Again, Mysterio
Mysterio, right?
blew my
So,
fucking mind.
since you
Yeah.
already said Mysterio is your favorite villain, who would you say is your favorite non-villain, non-Spider-Man character?
Honestly, I have to agree with you about Marissa Tomei as Aunt May. I really like how she portrays Aunt May in those movies. Like, I really like it because it's different. It's obviously different because she's not like a fucking elderly grandma, right? But I like how she actually knows the secret and supports it. And I think that's gonna make, and that's why I'm curious about like how she'll be in No Way Home because I think that makes him stronger. You know, having people that know that genuinely have his back. So yeah, I would say Aunt May. I think that was a great name that you brought up that I hadn't even considered. But upon reflection, I'm like, yeah, I really, really like her.
All right. So, the fourth question is favorite moment.
Oh, again, I hate to sound like a broken record, but like Far From Home, I'd say both of my favorite moments come from that movie. One where Mysterio is fucking with Peter, with like the
Oh
illusions and making it look
God!
like
And
he's
then
trapped,
Peter
and
gets
then
hit by a fucking train. I remember that.
exactly, yeah, that was fucking wild. And then yeah, the scene where it seems like Mysterio's given up. He tries to fire. Spider-Man stops it because, like I said, he really became Spider-Man to me in that moment. And yeah, he shuts everything down. Which that moment even got a little extra mileage in the post-credit scene because Mysterio was able to use it to fuck him up and, like, again, splice the footage together and then just expose his identity to the entire world. So he still laughs last. He's made life hell for him now. So, yeah, like, absolute favorite scene. And again, Peter getting fucked with is a close second. And I don't know, they're probably interchangeable. On any given day, like, if I just watched it, I'd be like, oh, I like that better just because it really went hard on Peter there fucking with his mind. But then him stepping out and really becoming that hero, damn, it's so good. It's so good.
I forgot to answer the favorite villain question since we were so kind of preoccupied with you having the same answer to that and the character question. For me, I think my favorite villain would be Doc Ock in the second Spider-Man movie.
Cool. Great choice.
Yeah. Although, don't get me wrong, if I were to list all the villains, it would be probably Doc Ock at 1, but then like 2A and 2B would be Mysterio and the Vulture.
Yeah, those are great choices as well.
Which brings me to my favorite moment that I don't want to repeat yours. So my favorite moment is the car ride to prom in Spider-Man, or I guess it would be the car ride to Homecoming in Spider-Man Homecoming, when Peter, the scene where Peter, knocks on the door and fucking, Michael Keaton opens it and answers it. That's a tense moment. But then the whole car ride, the process by which Vulture realizes that he's literally in the car with Spider-Man is just one of the most tense scenes in all of the MCU. It is incredible.
Yeah, really well done.
Fifth and final question from Mark. If all three actors are in No Way Home, will they do the Spider-Man pointing at each other meme?
They have to, right?
Even though they already did that in Into the Spider-Verse.
I think they'd have to do it.
Yeah.
They'd have to do it. Like, on that big of a screen, they're plugged into the culture enough to know.
Personally, I would hate it if they would do it. I think it would be dumb and, like, fucking ham-fisted, but they probably would do it.
Yeah.
All right, next up, let's talk about our 5 Alex Foster questions. This is the home stretch. First up, name a villain you hated as a kid that you now understand and or like. Can I go first on this?
Sure.
Professor X, man.
Wait,
no, I said
Magneto?
it right. I meant Magneto. You knew what I meant. Magneto, for sure. Easily Magneto. I can't believe I said Professor X. Jesus Christ. Well, I think of Professor X as a little bit of a villain now because he's such a fucking enlightened centrist bullshit. But Magneto, for sure, man. Like, don't get me wrong. I'll never be like, yeah, go kill people and be like happy and enthusiastic about that. But this dude was a fucking visionary. He knew that mutants would never be fully accepted by society. And he knew that as long as there were people like fucking Boulevard Trask around, that they were going to find ways to fuck their shit up. And he was so right. And Charles was so fucking stubborn in the other direction. It was obnoxious. And it made me actually resent Charles Xavier for it. So absolutely 100% Magneto for me.
I was going to say Magneto, but I knew one of us was going to. I knew it. If I really wanted to be a cheeky, cynical asshole, I'd just say Thanos. But no, I can never get down with, like, wiping out half the fucking planet. Unless half the planet ever gets taken over by capitalists, in which case, yeah. Part of me wants to say Joker as a kid watching Dark Knight, because I think I was still like a early in my adolescence. And, like, obviously Joker and other iterations shouldn't be right, and, like, we see, like, the fucking sick shit that he does. But when you look at, like, in the Nolan film, and we've even talked about this, like, how he actually saved Gotham, and he did everything that he needed to do for Batman to kind of take his place.
Yeah, dude, he gutted the criminal underworld of Gotham right under Batman's nose.
Exactly. So, yeah, I would say Heath Ledger's Joker.
Yeah.
Specifically, and I have to specify because there have been many iterations of Joker, but that's the only one where you can actually, like, when you go beyond the surface, it's like, holy shit, that's actually fucking amazing. Yep. So Heath Ledger's Joker for me.
Yep. Yeah. Second question from Foster: which wrestlers would you go on a treasure hunt with? And then he added, maybe everyone has a different job: snacks, navigation, etc.
I mean, God, I want to say Kyrie's so bad for one of these because she was formerly a wrestler, but I know she's not wrestling actively. She'd be perfect. Literally, pirate princess. Fuck. And she took out the NXT Women's Championship in a treasure chest one time. One of the best champion entrances ever. Miss me with the fucking replies. God. Treasure hunting, huh?
You know who I want to bring the snacks?
Who do you want to bring the snacks?
Orange Cassidy.
I'm going to say Big E for snacks, only because we remember that brief time on SmackDown where he had his own couch by commentary with his own food. So the dude knows how to eat. So I'm going to say Big E for snacks. Plus, he can also serve as muscle. I'm also going to say Seth as a crewmate. Only because I think he'd be so fucking here for it. That dude, I think that dude just loves life as long as he's a part of it. Like, if I'm going on a treasure hunt, that means treasure hunting is the just greatest shit ever kind of thing. So I'll take Seth. I take Becky as a babyface. I would want like a fiery person, and she could. Oh yeah, that's right. Mark making a great point. I can't believe we didn't get any rotten butter questions. Holy shit!
Well, the thing
that's
is,
just now hitting me.
it's similar to the situation that we had with God, who was, I don't remember who it was, but someone else did this. I got a notification that Rotten Butter posted something. He commented something, but when I click on it, it doesn't show up.
Ah.
It's like he posted it and then deleted it. But I bet you, if he was here, he would say, "I didn't delete it," but it's just not showing up for me. So I don't really know how to handle that.
Well, in the words of Jim Ross about referees, you can't call what you don't see. So
yeah, because like even if I pull up the comments section in my YouTube studio thing, there's just nothing from him there. Like the last comment was 2 weeks ago from Mason Rodriguez.
Wow. Okay. Who else could you think going treasure hunting with?
Well, I never got to explain why I want Orange Cassidy bringing the snacks.
Okay, give us your explanation.
Apparently, scurvy is due to a lack of vitamin C, right?
Yeah, there you go.
So we gotta get our orange juice, oranges, lots of vitamin C in that.
Absolutely.
So that's the best way to avoid that. Let's see. I would want. Let's see. I'm gonna say Big E as well, but for a different reason. Not for snacks. I just want Big E because he's the strongest person in wrestling that I can think of, and that way he could steer the ship through a storm if we would encounter one.
Ah, good point. Good point. You know what? I'm going to say Asuka because she spent time with Kyrie, so she had to learn something about sailing in all of her time with Kyrie.
Yeah,
or Io for that.
I'm going to say Io. Yeah, I'm going to say Io because she spent more time with Kyrie than Asuka did.
There you go. No, that's smart. That's smart. If I can't get Kyrie exactly, I'll cheat. And yeah, that's definitely great.
If I can't have Kyrie, give me Kyrie in the fucking conglomerate. Or not conglomerate. What's the word there? I'm missing a word there. Never mind. In the aggregate. That's the word, in the aggregate. Thank you.
You got there, bud. You got there. I can't really think of anybody else, though. I like Foster's idea of GYV. They're learning how to cheat, which, I mean, they've got great minds, working together in a team kind of structure.
They would both make amazing pirates, honestly. Give them the Paul Burchill gimmick, please.
Fuck yeah. Yeah, and you know what? I think I'm going to yield it there because I don't want to overextend because I feel like I always fumble on questions when I overextend, so I'm going to cut off
All right. Third question. If you could have any hairstyle for a week, what would it be?
Any hairstyle for a week? That's a good question. I mean, because I'm fucking balding and thinning up top, so really I would just say the Stone Cold hairstyle of like no hair. But you know what? Let me look. I feel like there's a name on the tip of my tongue. I'll just say fucking Jomo's hair. It's long and flowing, and I've seen him do shit with it. Like, he's got possibility with that hair, so I'll say fucking Jomo's hair. That seems like it would work.
I think if I could have any hairstyle for a week. Since it's only a week, that implies that my hair magically returns to its previous state after the week is up, right?
I would say so.
Okay. So if I could have any hairstyle for a week, it would be the fucking Elvis slicked back, but like with the poof up front kind of thing.
Yeah. All right. I dig it.
I mean, just to try. Like I've never tried that. That's like the one hairstyle I've never tried. Obviously, I'll be upfront. I have no interest in being bald because I guarantee you my scalp is ugly as fuck. I have no interest in being bald. I've had short hair before. I've had medium length hair before. I have long hair now. I've tried everything. I've even had the sides of my head shaved like Nakamura. I've tried a lot of shit with my hair. One thing I've never tried is that like fucking wave up front. Never bothered with it. So yeah, give me that for a week and then let me have my long hair back.
All right.
Third question: since Santa is real, what are you asking him for this year?
God, I'm asking him to guide me and helping me with my fucking Christmas shopping. I still have to buy for my fucking family. This wasn't supposed to be like this. I was supposed to chill all month. That didn't happen. So I guess I'd ask for that. I guess I would just ask for the prosperity of everybody that got unjustly released by corporations. And I say corporations outside of WWE because capitalism's a fucking bitch. And I feel like that's within the scope of what Santa's actually capable of. So let's get to it.
Is ending capitalism within Santa's scope, or am I asking too much now?
You're asking too much. You need to simmer those expectations considerably.
Well then,
I make such a great parent. My tone was on point there, just crushing that dream. That was amazing.
Yeah. I don't really know what to say anymore.
Yeah. Was that his last question?
No, there's one more. There's one more.
Thank God. We don't have to end on that note. Okay.
Who's the real villain, Daniel LaRusso or Johnny Lawrence?
I don't know who these people are. What?
Have you never watched The Karate Kid?
Oh, God. It was so long ago. We're still talking about that?
Well, Daniel LaRusso was Daniel-san, the guy that, you know...
Oh, Mr. Miyagi trained, right?
Yeah. And then Johnny Lawrence...
I don't know, man. Cobra Kai forever.
Johnny Lawrence was the main Cobra Kai kid that got kicked in the end.
Yeah, wasn't that illegal?
I have no clue.
The way did anyone... Like, yeah, like, well, see,
if it was illegal, you'd think that they would have disqualified Daniel and not given him the trophy that he was very clearly holding at the end.
Dude, no. Oh, God, do I even want to be me right now on the last fucking question? Do I really? I do. No, because movies are always on their bullshit. You've seen the movies where, like, oh, this singing group that were, like, all friends and tight, and we're all gonna get famous together. And then they, like, go through the rip, and it's like, no, fuck you, I hate you now for some arbitrary reason to drum up conflict. And then there's, like, a talent show or some gig that was supposed to be make or break, you know? Like, literally everything they fucking dreamed about until they finally let inconvenience and, like, whatever bullshit get in the way. You know what, Foster? I feel like I'd like it, too. God, I really am old. I tell people I'm 90 on the inside, and I feel it, man. Because, like, if it's not something that that's already a part of my schedule, I can't be bothered because I'm too busy doing philosophy nerd shit. But yeah, like, you know, they do the gig, and it's like, oh, all these other bands compete, right? And they're really good, and they actually showed up on fucking time. But then the band gets back together, and they're like, oh, I'm so sorry we fought, and they do this singing number, and even though it wasn't formally a part of the competition, they win. I mean, fuck you to every other band that showed up. So yeah, movies do that kind of shit all the time. Where, like, actual hardworking people that are in the bounds of the rules, they get fucked in the name of the plot. So, yeah, I don't believe it, because even if Daniel-san should have been disqualified, it's like, well, you know, golly gee, he's such a good kid and he worked hard for this. Let's give it to him anyway. So, yeah, you know what? He is the villain. I worked myself into a shoot. I can't stop now. He's the villain.
Johnny and his friends mercilessly bully him throughout the entire movie.
That sounds like I am. You took me out. Just the way you said that. You let me do this whole thing, do my whole process, and then in the most even leveled monotone, he literally gets bullied throughout the entire, as if you were just like, oh, aha, John, I found that one little Jenga piece of argument sticking out like a bitch, and I'm gonna pull it out, and as your tower crumbles, I am just gonna revel in it internally, because my stoicism is key to my victory. Fuck you. And you know what? I'm doubling down. Daniel-san is the villain.
Daniel-san literally only goes to Mr. Miyagi to learn how to defend himself from the bullies.
I'm being bullied, so let me go in a sanctioned contest and win with an illegal maneuver and prove that I'm the better man. That sounds like some weak shit. You know what's really dumping on somebody?
Man sounds like something Johnny would have said.
Well, maybe Johnny had a point. I don't know. But
You're really gonna die on this hill, aren't you?
Well, yeah, because fuck your tone. I don't even need a calculator. I wasn't in love with it from the jump, from the first consonant that uttered out of your face. I was like, no, it doesn't get to have this. I gave you the political thing earlier because it was well thought out and everything else. I'm not giving you this. No.
Do you know what else is a consonant, maneuver? John?
Beg pardon?
Do you know what else is a consonant?
Make my day, motherfucker. What else is a consonant?
F, as in fuck Johnny Lawrence.
Oh, you know what? You drew that F out way too long. Go to your room. You're done. You're done. I'm doing the outro. Go to your fucking room. You're done. So, with that said, guys, this has been Q&A. I'm John. That's Ashton, who hopefully was in his room, although he's usually the one that ends these things. And I'm not talking about verbally, like I can do that. He just ends them technically, and I don't know how he's going to do that now away from his room, but we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. We'll just leave this thing on forever, and I'll just talk to you guys forever. I guess that's what's happening. So leave a like if you fly loud, subscribe, click the bell icon for notifications, check out everything we're involved in the description box, including our Patreon and our Discord, all that stuff. Discord's $3 a month access. Patreon, you guys already know, because we just did Q&A. $1 gets you additional Q&A questions. When you donate $1, you get up to 5 Q&A questions. If you don't, your limit is only 3 questions. And check us out on Twitter. I am at John_TwitWoW. My pin tweet is to collect Q&A questions. And while we're on the subject of talking about Q&A, we already did one this month by all accounts, but this was supposed to be like the November one. It even says in the title November. So for December, it'll be December 30th. I actually like this because this is just a little bit before the new year. So I guess we can just reflect on shit, and we can also reflect on our holiday. It's good space there. So December 30th, I'll be sure to get the pinned tweet up because I'm amazing like that, obviously. And yeah, just be sure to submit your Q&A questions. Discord, again, only $3 a month. There's a Q&A channel in there. Really convenient place to submit questions. Ashton's pinned tweet is the TWitWoW schedule for the month. December just started, so give my man some time. I know he'll get a December schedule up eventually. I know we're going to have some requests on there. I know Chiefin, for instance, has us going live with an OTT request December 22nd. So, we're going to be back in the OTT saddle there per Chiefin. And, yeah, as far as this weekend goes, we're not done yet as far as content because Saturday we're previewing and predicting War Games. That's going to be at 10:30. And then 8 p.m. Eastern time, we're live reacting to War Games. So thank you guys for coming out for Q&A. You're the fucking best. I love you guys. Again, I have no idea what's going to happen now with this stream because I sent Ashton to his room. Hey, you can come back now. We need to technically end this. Okay, so I called him back. That should solve everything. And yeah, guys, just great time. Really fun Q&A. I'm amazed, actually, how quickly we got through this because you guys have to keep in mind we started later. And it's not even 9:30 yet. So I'm really proud of us and proud of you guys for asking such great questions. We'll see you December 30th for another round of them. Be good to yourselves. Be good to each other. Good luck with everything this holiday. Again, because I'm saying it in the space of Q&A. So it's going to be a while before we're back specifically for this. Good luck with holiday shopping and everything else. God knows I'm going to need it. And until then, tune in. Peace out.